What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? Welcome back to another episode of the Sanchez Show. As always, I'm your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, man. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. Make sure you guys get in tune, get familiar. We got a lot going on tonight, as this is the NBA Finals pre-game show. Let me know if you guys hit me out there. Make sure everything's good. Hold on, we're gonna get it going. All right, guys. So as always, I'm your host Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. Make sure you are following me and subscribe to the podcast. Follow me across all social media platforms. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. Send over your questions. Shout out to the comment section. It's already booming. Shout out to Kyrie. I see Squeeze over there. I see Pooh over there. We are live also on Instagram right now as well. Let's make sure that's up on that side too, though. Let's see. Hold on. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right here. Make sure we good over there. But yes, we are live tonight for about an hour, a little more than an hour, as we preview game one of the NBA Finals. We got a lot to get into, a lot of information to get into, a lot, man, it's just a lot in general as we preview what I expect to be a great series between the Spurs and the Knicks. Early indications, early betting lines, Spurs are the favorites. Completely understand they won 60 games this year. So that's to be expected. But a lot of history on the line as well. You got the New York Knicks looking to get their first championship in 53 years. You have the San Antonio Spurs looking to get back to the mountaintop for the first time. This would be in 12 years for them. But more importantly, Victor Wembanyama, can he become one of the young, great superstars to ever lead his team to a championship? This is really unprecedented territory for Victor. When you consider the Spurs were not in the playoffs the last 2 years, when you consider for this group of guys, this is their first playoff run, and now they're already here. They take care of the defending champs last round against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now they face a New York team that, based on historical numbers, point differential, back-to-back sweeps. I mean, you're talking about a team that's having a historically great playoff run, and now they have an opportunity to see if they can eliminate the Knicks. And again, like I said, early favorites in the series as they should be. They were a 60-win team. I thought very highly of the Spurs throughout the regular season. I thought they were having a great regular season. I talked about this during the NBA Cup when I saw them play the Knicks. And even though they lost to the Knicks, that was back in December. That was the first time these teams played. I came away really impressed. And it was one of the things that I kept highlighting and kept talking about. So I am very, very interested to see this series play out and see how things go in this series. Now, let's get to a couple of things before we get to the questions. Will Gordon will be joining me at some point tonight for a segment we love to call the Opinionated Ones. So he will be here to give his thoughts on some of this stuff as well. We're going to get to that in a second. But a couple of things to keep in mind, a couple of players that I think are X factors in this series. Shout out to the whole comment section. We're going to get to as many of the questions as we can, guys, because keep in mind, I really want to keep the live tonight to about an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour. I want to wrap up as the game is getting ready to start. And I know Will Gordon's got a lot of thoughts on stuff, a lot of thoughts on this series, who he likes, what we got going on. So we're gonna get to a couple things tonight. We're gonna try to get to every comment. All right. Don't worry about that. We're gonna get to all that stuff. First things first, I want to start off by talking about some of the X factors in the series because this series has star power. This series has two really talented teams, well-coached teams. Yes, Brunson and Wembanyama are the highlight and the face of each team, but we're not going to act like Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox aren't great players. Same on the other end, Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Bridges, right? And then the benches. So there's a lot there, a lot to unpack. But in terms of X factors, I think really simple, really simple. I think De'Aaron Fox is a big-time X factor for the Spurs tonight and for this series. You look back at their previous series against Oklahoma City. I thought the Spurs at times looked young and inexperienced with the turnovers. Stephon Castle had back-to-back games in that series where he turned the ball over 10 times. You can't do that against this Knicks team. This Knicks team likes to create turnovers. They like to get out and run. And more importantly, if you're the Spurs, you want to try to keep the Knicks in the half court as often as possible because you have the great eraser and Wembanyama on the back line of that defense. So you don't. Last thing you want is Bridges and Anunoby and those guys getting easy layups and get their rhythm going away from an opportunity to really defend and force them into the help of Wembanyama. So De'Aaron Fox to me is critical in this series. He's got to be the veteran presence that they brought him over to be. He's got to be the guy who can settle down the offense, make sure you get into your sets, but more importantly, eliminate turnovers. On the flip side of that, and playing off of that, is going to be Stephon Castle. Because I think Castle in this series, for the Spurs to be successful, is going to have to play off ball a little bit more. He's a little careless with the basketball, and that's understandable. He's a second-year player, right? And I don't think he's a natural point guard either, but he's been put in a situation to be that guy that facilitates their offense. And in this series, I don't think that's what's going to work for them. They need Castle off the ball. I think they need De'Aaron Fox running the show to eliminate the turnovers. And if Castle can shoot the way he shot and throughout these playoffs, then they've got a really good shot to win. It's not just the points for him, because he's averaging about 19 for the series, but he's shooting for the playoffs, I should say. But he's shooting 48% from the field. He's shooting 38% from three, right? So he's been effective in all three levels of scoring. That's what the Spurs are going to need if they want a real opportunity to eliminate the turnovers and play through De'Aaron Fox, which I think is going to be very, very critical for them. On the flip side, for the Knicks, it's pretty simple. It's Josh Hart. Brunson, over the last 4 years, has averaged 29 points a game in the playoffs. You don't expect that to slip much. He had great games against the Spurs in the regular season. He even had a 60-point game against them in their second meeting. So you expect Brunson to get his. That's to be expected. You expect Karl-Anthony Towns to get his. You expect him to play through Karl-Anthony Towns. And I know that's one of the questions. We're going to get to that in a second, too. But Josh Hart, he's going to be the guy that the Spurs are going to try to put Wembanyama on. He's going to try to almost play free safety and play off of him. And they're going to dare Josh Hart to shoot the basketball. And if he can have an effective series, then that changes the dynamic for the Spurs of how they not only play Wembanyama on defense, but then how they try to attack pick and rolls, how they try to close out on shooters. Because now Wembanyama is truly their great eraser. He's the great equalizer in the series. They need to eliminate all the other shooters. And if Josh Hart is hitting, then that makes it very difficult to do. So those are some of the X factors that I'm looking at in this series. Will, give me a thumbs up. Let me know when you're ready. We're going to get to a couple of things before we get to the questions tonight. All right. Couple other things I'm paying attention to in this series. And like I said, Will, give me a thumbs up. Let me know when you're ready, bro. Points in the paint. The Knicks love to play downhill. They love to get in the paint. More importantly, they're a great offensive rebounding team. You look at the numbers through their 3 games in the regular season against the Spurs. Points in the paint. The first time they played was the Cup championship game. Knicks were plus 12 that game. They won by 11. Sorry. Their second meeting, the Spurs win by 2, and the Spurs won the points in the paint. They were plus 8. Their last meeting, which is the blowout, the real blowout of the 3 they had this year, Knicks win by 25. They were plus 2 in the paint. So when the Knicks have had success in the paint, it has translated to them controlling these games against the Spurs. All right. That's a big, big factor. Wembanyama is going to have to be very active. And I think he's going to have to be more active in this series than he was against OKC. Because whether it's the rim runs of Mitch Robinson when he gets in the game, whether it's Jalen Brunson coming off that pick and roll and trying to get downhill, looking for that floater in the lane, Wembanyama is going to have to be very, very active. Whoever controls the paint, I think, is going to have a major advantage in winning, not only tonight, but winning the series. And again, that goes hand in hand with the offensive rebounds. You look back, the first time they played, the Knicks were plus 5 in offensive rebounds. They won that game. The second game, the Spurs were plus 1 in offensive rebounds. They won that game. The last game, the Knicks were plus 8. It was the biggest differential of the 3 they had, but also that led to the biggest point differential in the 3 games they played. So there's a direct correlation, I think, between the points in the paint, between the offensive rebounding, that those 2 things are kind of tying together. If Wembanyama is going to be effective, if Wembanyama is going to control the paint in this game, then it's going to eliminate the Knicks' opportunity to get second chance points and play down in the paint. But if he's not going to control that area, then the Knicks are going to get pretty much any shot they want. And if the Knicks are going to continue to get any shot they want, like we've seen the other series, then it gets ugly because the Knicks can shoot the ball. The Knicks have enough guys on the perimeter to shoot. Another great matchup to watch is going to be Anunoby against Wembanyama. He got the assignment a lot this year. He played him very, very tough. He pushed him away from the basket. He gave him some trouble. And Wembanyama didn't look comfortable in any of those games. Now, some people will say, well, in 2 of those games, he played less than 28 minutes. But that's really been Victor all year. You look at Victor's numbers for the year, he only averaged 32 minutes a game. So he wasn't a high minutes guy throughout the regular season anyway. I don't know if just because they got blown out by the Knicks in the last game that changed anything. I just truly think this matchup gets a little tricky for Wembanyama. He's gonna obviously be on the floor for more than 25 minutes. We know it's gonna be closer to 35, maybe even 40 minutes. But I don't know how he will fare with a smaller defender like Anunoby, who's a lot stronger than what OKC was trying to do with Caruso, who's more skilled than what they could do with Hartenstein, and puts Wembanyama in some tricky situations offensively, especially if he doesn't get the deep catch. Those are just a couple of things to pay attention to there. The three-point shooting, of course, is going to be big. The Knicks won the three-point battle in all 3 games. They were +1 the first time, which was the Cup championship game. They were +8 in the next 2 meetings. So they shot the 3 ball very well. That's something else to pay attention to with the Spurs, because I do think if the Spurs are going to lose the points in the paint, they cannot lose the three-point battle. They got to shoot better there. But let me bring my brother in. We got a lot to get into. Like I said, comment section is buzzing. I see you guys. We're going to try to get to every question. Trust me, we're going to try to get to everything. My brother Will Gordon's in the building.
What it do, baby? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy NBA Finals Day. We finally here.
That's
Oh,
a fact.
salute. Salute. Yeah, you don't have to clink with your game going on tonight, man. How you feeling about
I
it?
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now, I want to, before we get to the questions, and like I said, I got a little analytical with some of the stuff, the numbers I was looking up, because the Knicks and Spurs, yes, they played 3 times this year, but they haven't played since March 1st. So these 2 teams are different since then, right? We know that the Spurs have elevated, the Knicks offense looks different. But I want to say this. I think tonight is a major, major win for the NBA and NBA fans. And it is not just because it's Wembanyama against the Knicks. I think it's a major win for NBA and NBA fans, because this, to me, is kind of the icing on the cake that parity has hit the NBA. We have not had a defending champ go back to back in over 8 years. We haven't had a defending champ get back to the finals in over 8 years.
Yeah.
We have seen probably the most parity the NBA has seen in a very, very long time. And I think the beauty of what these 2 teams bring, because we've spoken very highly about the Spurs all year as well, is that you can build it different ways. The Spurs, we know about the draft picks, right? They got 3 guys who were top 5 picks. The Knicks had to do it the other way. They didn't have, the luck of the lottery to be able to get a number 1 pick. So they had to do it through trades and free agency. You look back to last year, OKC, they did it with a combination of trades, draft picks. Pacers did it the same way. Boston has done it the same way. Denver has done it the same way. So now, I think if you're an NBA fan, I don't want to use the word hope, but that's what it creates, right? You as a Wizards fan, Will, you got to be feeling good, because like, we got draft picks, we got some veterans. We might, in 2 years, we might be in a similar situation where we're playing for something that means something, as opposed to
Bro,
just being in the lottery.
I almost hit you. It's funny you say that because I almost hit you today and was going to say uh, bold prediction 2030 NBA Finals. The Wizards was going to be in it. Because it's funny you say that because, like you say, it's the hope. It's when you start to see things put in motion, and now you're seeing the culmination of those things. Like when you've built up over the last few years, you've seen this team get better over the last couple of years, and to be so close last year, and then to be lucky enough and fortunate enough and good enough to get back and try to right all the wrongs from last season. That's exactly what teams want. This is exactly what the NBA wants.
Yeah, like I said, it's a great look for the NBA. The Knicks, this has been a 4-year build. Brunson came 4 years ago, and then the pieces after that, right? The Anunoby trade, the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, the Bridges trade, the Hart trade. Wembanyama's in his 3rd year. Then they draft Castle. They trade for Darren Fox. They get Dylan Harper. They made the small moves. So I think it's a real conversation that can be had to say, yo, in 2 to 3 years, the Wizards might be the team knocking on the door in the East, because look how quickly it's turning around for every other team. And again, the Pacers just last year were in the same situation. They were 3 years removed from trading for Tyrese Halliburton and a couple draft picks, and next thing you know, you're playing in the NBA Finals. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the beauty in it for the NBA. The parity is definitely there now, and it's a different energy, I think, around the NBA. We went through that stretch. I don't know if it was good for basketball or not, but we went through that stretch where every year we already knew who was going to play in the finals. We went through 4 straight years where we knew it was going to be Warriors and Cavs, and there was no chance of anybody else getting there. And then prior to
Yeah,
that,
and
You know what I'm saying? And then prior to that, we knew it was going to be the Miami Heat in the finals, probably playing against San Antonio. So it took away the excitement of playoff basketball because you kind of knew, unless there was some sort of weird injury, these two teams who were built up as powerhouses were going to get there. We no longer have the powerhouses anymore. Now we just got good NBA teams across the board.
Yep. And I think fans were getting bored, like not just like the tried and true NBA fans, but casual fans were getting bored with knowing who was going to be in the finals every year, or you know what I mean. When casual fans were getting familiar with the finals every season, that's what I mean. Knowing who was already going to be there, that's never good. And now you've got it like everybody's, well, not everybody, but now you've got it to where different fan bases in different cities feel like they're participants. Like it's not just already etched in stone who's going to be there when the dust settles. So it's great for the NBA, and the ratings are bearing out, showing that, because they're doing some crazy numbers right now with these playoff games.
I agree. I think that's what has made this playoff run. Obviously, from a homer standpoint, I'm gonna say that because I'm a Knicks fan. But even watching some of the other matchups, because we got 7-game series right off the rip. The number 1 seed in the East almost got eliminated in the first round. They had to go 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Boston, the number 2 seed, end up going 7, blows a 3-1 lead. They out. We see Joker, who they were heavy favorites to beat Minnesota. Minnesota beats them. So there was a lot of excitement in these playoffs leading up to this finals. And I think this series is gonna kind of put the icing on the cake, because I do think both these teams are really, really good. I think it's going to be an exciting series, and I'm a big believer in styles make fights, and these are two contrasting styles. As I was saying right before you came on the live, the Knicks want to get in the paint. The Knicks live in the paint. They're not a team that's just looking to just swing into open threes. They're trying to get downhill. And on the flip side, you got the alien who's going to be standing there contesting every shot pretty much. So somebody's style is going to have to play out.
And that's where I think you guys have to stay, is in that paint, if you expect to have success against this team, even though Wemby will be lurking. Because you can't, I don't really think you have the style of team that can play another type of way because you got Cat, who's a big time contributor. He can step out, but do you really want him to? You got Anunoby, who's a big time contributor. I think you want to take advantage of his length down in the paint pause. And I just think you're more suited, especially off of Brunson's action up top. You're just more suited for him to play outside in instead of inside out. The way you guys maneuver. If you can dictate the flow and make San Antonio adjust to you, then that's going to be advantage New York. But it's going to be a tough one for y'all, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This Spurs team is well coached, and these young guys are active, and they move around. They keep their hands up. They play passing lanes extremely well on defense. It's not so much that they lock you down, mano a mano, but they're very smart in the way they play team defense, and that's why you see them get out on so many fast breaks. It's because when you see it, because they play those passing lanes so well, and I think it's probably just because of the way they're coached and what they do in practice. Because as soon as the tip goes, it's at least 2 other guys that's always full speed going the other way, like they are, like a drill. It's going to be a tough task, but this is the finals we want to see. I think once we looked at what the East was and what the West was, this is the 2 teams that should be in the finals, and this is what the people want to see, and I can't wait.
One of the things I was talking about right before you got on the live was the turnovers, because I think that goes both ways. I agree with you. The Knicks have to get quality offensive possessions throughout the game, right? Because, again, you don't want to be playing catch up with a team that is this good defensively as San Antonio. And I've said, since we played them in the Cup, the most impressive thing that I saw about them in the Cup is, as I'm watching the game, I'm like, bro, there's nobody that you really want to get a switch on to. Like I said, Stephon Castle's the shortest guy on the court at 6'4", 6'5". So it's not like, there's anybody that you're picking on where it's like, oh, we want to get the switch onto that guy. It's like, no, everybody's a long, athletic defender. So there isn't an easy guy. But on the flip side, I think the Spurs understand that too. The Spurs, the Spurs probably could have beat OKC in 5 or 6 games. When we look back at some of those games, and that's no knock on OKC. OKC is a good team. I know they were a little limited towards the end because of injuries. But when we look at some of them games, the Spurs let OKC hang around because they had a lot of bad turnovers. Remember, Castle had back-to-back games. We had 10 turnovers. And I think they're kind of in the same boat where it's like, if turnovers are going to happen, you expect that. They're a young team. They're going to get sloppy pause, with the basketball. But you can't also create the live ball turnovers where now the Knicks is able to get easy layups, because then that eliminates the Wemby factor. If you're the Spurs, what you want is the Knicks playing half-court basketball so that Wemby can be effective in every possession. Not Anunoby and Bridges getting easy layups now, because then it's like, all right, now Wemby has no impact on the game because we're giving them layups in transition now. So I think that goes for both teams. San Antonio's an athletic defensive team, but if the Knicks are causing turnovers, and that's been one of their keys in this playoff run, and that's been one of the things that's hurt San Antonio, that could be a big, big issue for San Antonio throughout the series. We got to see. We're going to see tonight. I think you can let me know who you view as an X factor. For me, I think De'Aaron Fox is an X factor for the Spurs. He's got to be the veteran point guard presence that settles them down and not allow the turnovers to happen and not allow bad possessions. But who would you have as an X factor on that side?
That's a good one in Fox because, like you said, he does bring you that veteran presence at the point guard position to calm things down, and he's good for 15 tonight. He's gonna give you 15. I think Kornet is gonna be a huge factor for them off their bench, because when you look at these two teams, it's not so much 1 through 5 that I think is going to determine the series. I think it's more so 6 through 9. And Kornet is a guy that they're going to need his defense and his size on those blocks against your bigs. So all kind of pauses in there. But
that's a great point. That was one of the other things I wrote down about the bench. The Wemby minutes is no secret. It was talked about all during the OKC series. Through the playoffs, the Spurs bench has been pretty good. In terms of net rating, the Knicks have the number 1 bench. The Spurs have the 3rd best bench. In terms of point differential, the Knicks bench is a plus 79 over 219 minutes. San Antonio's is a plus 42 over 241 minutes. So through 3 rounds, both benches have been good. The only hiccup for the Spurs has been the OKC series. In that OKC series, their bench was outscored 332 to 200 points. It was a significant difference in that one series. Now, maybe, like I said, maybe that's just the Wemby minutes that are making it look that way. Because when there was no Wemby, we saw OKC kept attacking the paint. And Kornet, yes, had the big block, but before that, they just kept going to the paint and forcing issues. Another part of that, too, and the reason I don't want to go too much into that number is we know OKC was getting the benefit of the whistle. So OKC was living at the free throw line, even with their bench.
And those numbers aren't spread around, because you got to remember Caruso had 31 game, and Jalen Williams had 20, like high 20s another game.
Right.
So 2 non-starters, that's 50 some points right there. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So you know what I mean? They did have some explosions off that bench.
I think that, like I said, the number to me that does solidify where these teams are, because we got 3 rounds at this point to look at, is the fact that, like I said, that the Knicks are number 1 in that rating, Spurs were number 3, which means both benches played good for 3 rounds of playoffs. Like I said, the one outlier is the OKC. But again, as you look at it, put it in perspective, you're talking about a night that Caruso hit 8 threes. It never happened again the rest of the series. It only happened. Right. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Williams had the one game, I think he had like 5 threes. It never happened again. So those were kind of outliers. But the benches are going to be needed. And you're right. Kornet, those minutes when Wemby's off the floor are going to be huge. Can Kornet at least tread water? Can he at least keep them where it's like, all right, Wemby goes to the bench and we're up 6 or 8 points. Let's not give away that lead. Because it can't be every time Wemby goes to the bench, the Knicks go on a run, and now you're forced to bring Wemby back in. You got to be able to tread water so that Wemby can get his proper rest. That's another thing I think is going to be major in this series. I've talked about it before. I know they're young legs, but this is also their first deep playoff run. What they're going to look like in the 4th quarter. Let's get to one of these questions right here, because I think this one does speak to tonight. And we can combine these 2 questions right here. I'm gonna put Kyrie's up first.
What up, Kyrie?
Which team needs game one more? And I'm gonna combine that with Pooh's question here. Bigger
Who?
concern, Knicks rust or Spurs emotional hangover after winning that game 7? So let's combine those two questions. I'm gonna let you go first, Will.
I like those two together. I'm gonna start with Pools with the Knicks rust or the emotional hangover. I'm concerned about rust, and we spoke on this earlier when the after they got up, the Knicks got up out of there so quick. I don't know. Like I said, in football, I rather rest. In basketball, I kind of want to keep that momentum going and keep the blood flowing. Because you guys weren't really too banged up, were you? Were the Knicks did you have any injuries that you really needed to nurse?
OG after the second round. Remember he had the hamstring.
Okay. Well,
But I
that could
mean,
be beneficial for you.
we ended up getting what was it, 9 days off between after we beat Philly and played the Cavs. So it was more than enough time for OG to get healthy.
Yeah.
That was really the only one.
See, I just don't like not playing that long. And on the Spurs side of it, the emotions, I'm not even mad at him. Like you might have saw Kevin Garnett. He said he didn't like seeing Wemby crying because it was just the Western Conference Finals. It's not the finals. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that at all. I want to see the emotion. I want to see that it matters, you know. And I'm not going to say with Wemby, you seeing him. He's the type of leader that they know that's not it. They know the Western Conference Finals is not the finals, but they also, this younger generation, and I'm only going to see what I see or say what I see. They are more emotional than what we were, or I'm KG's age. What I like seeing that it matters. I thought that's what it was. It was more so than we made it. I just see that. I thought that emotion was that it matters, and Wemby, everything I've seen from him and heard from him, he knows that it's not over until you holding up that Larry O'Brien. So I think the emotion for the Spurs in that last series is going to be a good thing going into these finals with them being so young. You need certain things that's going to help you get over the hump. And I think the emotion that they show is one of those things that's going to, because it wasn't just Wemby on the floor crying by himself. It was him embracing all his guys and all of them feeling the same way, like their group. And that's what's so scary. It's a core of young guys that are a group that are really good at basketball. So it's going to be an issue. Now, who needs game one more? I gotta say the Spurs do, because of their youth, because of the emotion, because of everything I just said. That's why they need it. Because of all those things at home. No, if it was in the Garden, I'd be okay with them losing game one. But you can't give up home court advantage, being the young, inexperienced team, not being here before, because you've shown to be ready for the moment. But this is really the moment now. And the Knicks have a veteran-laden team with a bunch of guys that have sniffed it before. Pause. So you know what I'm saying? They kind of need this game way more than the Knicks do, because the Knicks can lose the first two games and feel like they good. The Spurs, you got to win tonight. You got to win game one at home to keep the momentum rolling that you just had, and then not give it to the Knicks immediately. If you give up game one, you really, I feel like you're 2 games behind if you lose game one.
I agree. And the reason I put those two questions together is because I do think they go hand in hand. I think rust matters. We know that. We saw it in the Knicks game one against the Cavs. They took them 3 quarters to really get going. But the difference in this series compared to the Cavs series is the Knicks don't have home court advantage. And so the Knicks mindset, and any team's mindset for that matter, is let's go out there and just get one. If we win game one, then we look to get greedy. But if we don't win game one, it's all right, because the goal was to come to San Antonio and win one game and have the series tied up coming back home, but we have home court advantage. So if you're the Spurs, as you mentioned, if the Knicks are rusty and still game one, then you have to feel like this things could go left now, because as they warm up as the series goes on, you expect them to be better as the series goes on. You expect any team to get better as the series goes on. More basketball, more film, more preparation. So things you expect that to get better. But if you lose game one, like you said, coming off of the emotional high, then it creates doubt. And for a team that's never been here, there isn't somebody that you can lean on really in that locker room. Like, hey, it's cool. We lost game one. We'll figure it out. Because De'Aaron Fox, even though he's your veteran, has never been here. Harrison Barnes is really your one veteran who's been here. But Harrison Barnes, they've been to the finals in over 10 years. And Harrison Barnes is not a guy that you're looking to play 25 minutes anyway. He's very limited minutes. So I think if you're the Spurs, you want to build off the momentum. And I agree. I think tonight is a very, very tricky night for the Spurs. If you're the Knicks, I know they don't want to hear it. I know nobody wants to hear it. But if you're the Knicks, you know we lose tonight, it's all right. We came here. It's a business trip. We're here for 2 games. We got to just win one of them. If the Knicks win tonight, I guarantee you they look to get greedy on Friday night. But if they lose tonight, there won't be any panic. On the flip side, I think there could be a little bit of angst and some anxiety with the Spurs if they lose tonight, because then it feels like, all right, now we must win. Because I don't care what nobody say, the Spurs do not want to go back to New York down 0-2. They cannot go down 0-2. And now you start playing a little desperate. You start playing in a way that's not really comfortable. So tonight is big for the Spurs, I think. For the Knicks, it is big. I don't want to limit the significance of game one, but it is more important for the Spurs.
If the Knicks go up 0-2, it's a sweep. Because the Garden would be
it's gonna go crazy.
Unbearable game 3. And the orange one can stay on home. It's enough orange in the Garden. He can go ahead and stay home, because you know they talking about him showing up. But it'll be bananas in the Garden game 3 up 0-2. I mean up 2-0.
I don't think that goofy motherfucker coming to the Garden. He's an opportunist. He saw what was going on and conveniently threw out there, I'm thinking about going to a game. I don't think he had any intention of coming to the game, but because he saw it was headline news and everybody was talking about, I'm thinking about, you're not going to a fucking game.
But they said today, game 3.
They said what?
They said game 3, he gonna be there.
We'll see. We'll see if it happens.
You don't need that juju in there, man. You don't need that bad juju in there.
That's a fact. Let's get to this question from Squeeze. This kind of goes back to what we talked about X Factor. Most important Spur outside of Wemby. Who you got, Will?
Castle. Without hesitation.
I agree.
He can, because I think, and to kind of lean back towards the X Factor question, I wouldn't say he would be the X Factor, but I think he needs to be Robin to Wemby's Batman for sure. Because, and we kind of saw that a little bit in the OKC series, where he had moments where he was taking games over. When he was at least, while Wemby's off the floor, it was no worries. You know, they give him the ball and he was figuring it out. I think you need, because he got that dog in him for sure, and that's what you want to see, is somebody that's going to come at you with that aggressiveness every play. It don't matter who's in front of him. Like, he won't be intimidated by the moment. I don't think he'll be intimidated by the guys on the other side in the other jerseys. And when it goes back to New York, I don't think he'll be intimidated by the Garden fans. Like, I see something in him, like you see. Now, I'm not saying that he's just that player or this guy or this guy or that guy, but what you see in guys like Anthony Richardson now, you know, like in this generation of players, what you see in guys like,
You said Anthony Richardson. You mean like Anthony Edwards?
I mean, yeah, my bad. Anthony Edwards. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, like Anthony Edwards. Like you see in Jason Tatum. Like you see in guys like you used to see in D Wade when he was. I mean, I'm not saying he's those guys, but he has that. Like, I feel like he's cool under pressure and still is coming at you with everything he got. So I think, and he has the ability he can give you 25 if that was what they needed out of him. And he can also make those plays that kind of rip the heart out of this, because he will yam on you if he gets to that realm. It don't matter who in front of him.
That's
So
a
I
fact.
mean, he's the kind of guy he's the kind of guy you really need as your number two. And I think he's outside of Wemby, you got to have him perform nightly, not no nights off for him.
No, that's a fact. Um, like I said, I agree with Castle. I got Fox as my X factor, but I definitely agree with Castle. If Castle can play off the ball and still be as effective as he's been, because in these playoffs he's averaging 19 a game, but he's shooting the ball really well. He's shooting over 45% from the field. He's shooting almost 40% from three. If he can stay that efficient and play off the ball, and only reason I want him off the ball is because, like I talked about, he's had the issues with the turnovers. That's the only thing. That's the only flaw in his game, and that's only a flaw because he's a second-year guard. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a situation where most young guards aren't playing these meaningful type minutes. So we don't
Right.
get to like kind of, examine their game in that way and kind of criticize their game. So it's not a
Right.
critique. It's just for the Spurs in this moment, we can't afford you to have 5 or 6 turnovers, let alone 10.
Yeah. He's
So
learning on the job.
right. If he can keep the same efficiency and play off ball, yeah, then he's dangerous. Because like you said, when he's going downhill, he might put you on a poster. So yeah, I agree with that. Guys, before we get to this next question as well, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. We are live every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're gonna add Twitch back on there as well. We're gonna expand the platforms that we're on Wednesday nights. I may come live on Friday. Me and Will gonna talk off air. We might do a quick little show on Friday before game 2. We'll see if we get our schedules right to do that on Friday night. But if not, we'll be back another night before next Wednesday as well, because I definitely want to do something over the weekend. If not before game 2, then after game 2, so that way we can give our analysis where we at that point. But you see the social media handles. Make sure you're following us across all social media platforms. Shoot us a like, shoot us a comment, send over your questions, topics, comments, anything you want to send over. We got a lot of great things in store for this summer, so you're not going to want to miss that. Make sure you are subscribed. Kyrie said, should Knicks offense run through Brunson or Cat? I'm going to start this one. I'm going to say I like the versatility they showed against Cleveland. They weren't as Cat reliant as they were in the Philly series. I do think it depends on the defensive matchups and who tries to guard Cat. If they can get the favorable matchup, then run it through Cat. If you like the matchup with Brunson, I have no problem running it through Brunson because, like I said, in the Cleveland series, they showed the versatility to be able to do both, and both were effective.
It really depends on what the Spurs are really trying to show you and what they're doing offensively. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It all depends on who they putting on Cat and
right.
Just from that.
I think that the Knicks have been more. They look to me more effective when Cat gets involved early. I think that's more so, but that doesn't mean it has to run through him. Like Brunson can the offense can run through him, but it's up to him as the point guard to get Cat involved. You see what I'm saying? So it can. That's a tough one, but I really think you need the ball in Brunson's hand, to be honest, and he needs to get Cat involved, dictated off what they do, what the Spurs are doing. Which that sounds like a very generic answer, but I mean that's really what it's going to have to be, because really they can get it done either way, you know. But with that Wemby's such an X factor, and how are they going to use him in space? So that's a really tough one. That's a better question after game 1, I think.
I agree, and I'm gonna say this too. This goes back to the point we were talking about game 1. Whether the Knicks win or San Antonio wins tonight, don't overreact, because I'm a true believer that the series really starts in game 2 after adjustments are made. Game 1 is almost like the first round of a boxing match where it's normally just jabs, right? Somebody got to win the round. Somebody's going to win the game. But what adjustments you make in game 2 can kind of dictate how the rest of the series plays out. And so to give you an example, the Spurs won game 1, but then they lost game 2 and game 3. So then they had to adjust to Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you could win game 1, but then not make the adjustments to win game 2. So I'm not overreacting either way. If the Knicks win tonight, of course I'm gonna be happy. but I'm gonna also understand that the adjustments in game 2 is what could dictate how the rest of the series goes.
Yeah.
I'm shout out to Shad, man. Listen, I don't really like the cat slander, but I understand it, all right, because there's a lot of memes out there. He said, "Is sassy Carl Towns playing his best ball of his career?" Pause. I think statistically, Carl Anthony Towns has had better seasons, but I think the efficiency of his game is the best it's ever been. And one of the biggest reasons is he stopped making a lot of them stupid ass fouls. He has rarely been in foul trouble in these playoffs. He stayed on the court, and so therefore you see the efficiency, the shooting, the passing. So from that standpoint, yeah, statistically though, he's had better seasons with better numbers, but this is the most efficient season he's had.
Yep.
What else we got? We got a couple football questions too. We're gonna get to, and then
Okay.
Paul, I'll say that they want to talk Jay-Z at the end of the show. Well, you know that.
Of course they do.
Let me.
I know they hating. I know these youngins hating.
Squeeze wanted to know you wasn't with us on Real Fans on Monday. He said, "Will, you wasn't on Real Fans. So what do you think if Chet versus Spurs? What do you think of Chet versus Spurs? Did he see Freddie Krueger? And what do the Thunder have to add this offseason?"
Yeah, man. Chet, I lost so much. Well, I can't even say I was a big fan of his anyway. I can't even say I lost respect for him. But, well, let me put it like this. I didn't disrespect him, but I just never thought he was who everybody.
You didn't have high praise for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought he was overrated. Like, I just thought he was an overrated dude. And for him to look like a little punk that whole series, especially Game 7. Game 7, Lord have mercy. You have how many shots he put up? 2, 4?
He took 2 more than me and you did.
In a Game 7 at home as a defending champion. That's supposed to be all NBA defensive, all these accolades, $300 million contract. And man, I ain't seen nobody not show up and like run from the moment like that since LeBron against Dallas Game 6. And a lot of people don't. You know what? I ain't heard nobody bring that up.
I'm so happy you said that.
I ain't heard nobody bring that up because I hear people say, "Oh, I ain't seen nobody run from the moment." I have, but that's besides the point. What he did to his team, and it's beside the fact of him being a little bitch in the moment, because that's what he was. But what you did to your team, bro, they needed you because you're not like a role player. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be one of them ones for them.
It's crazy. I talked about that on Monday. I don't mean to cut you off. Chet was a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's the 3rd best player on his team.
Man, listen.
And I highlighted, I was trying to find the notes because I had talked about it on Monday. This is a little bit of recency outrage because, like you said, everybody's, I've never seen nobody fold in that moment. No, we saw LeBron James score 8 points in Game 6.
Yeah, we saw that.
Let's not forget LeBron wanted no part of JJ Barrera and Jason Terry.
Yes.
Game 6, right? But excuse me, we're gonna keep it Chet. Last year, Will, I pointed this out. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it because I know you tapped in, you commented on the show Monday. Chet had 3 games in last year's finals where he scored single digits.
Mm. So who is he?
Last year against Denver, where he scored 6 points. When they was down 2-1 to Denver, he scored 6 points. Shea bailed him out because Shea had a 40 piece that game.
Mm.
The real conversation we should be having about Chet is really he has been saved by the fact that Shea is an MVP and that Jalen Williams turned into the 2nd best player on the team because Chet was supposed to be number 2 on this team.
Yeah.
Not Jalen Williams. You don't draft Chet, the number 1 overall pick, to be the number 3 guy on your team.
Yeah.
And so even looking back at last year against the Pacers, fuck just Wemby, because like Wemby could dominate anybody in the game. We know that. That's no surprise.
Right.
Fucking Miles Turner dominated you last year.
Yeah,
You had 3 games in the finals last year where you didn't even reach 10 points.
yeah, man.
So
He might be SOF capital T.
yeah, the Chet dilemma is going to be a real issue for OKC. And as I said on Monday, they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with Chet in terms of trading him or figuring out the other pieces, because it gets real tricky after next year when they become a second apron team. Because Jalen Williams got his contract, Chet got his contract, obviously Shea got his. When they become a second apron team, it's going to be very limited in the type of trades they can make. So all them draft picks is really not going to mean shit because they're going to have to trade significant payroll to be able to bring in somebody of significance. This might be the summer to do it. You might have to
Yeah,
just do it now and kind of retool. And I get it. I've heard people, because even after I said that, there was some people that had commented like, oh, they didn't have Jalen Williams, they didn't have AJ Mitchell. Cool. I get all that. They didn't have 2 of their key offensive guys. But that doesn't mean next year they're gonna have me though. Injuries
hmm
happen to every team every year. What we saw from Chet was really he just shit the bed.
and he was playing hot potato. As soon as the ball would come to him, he was giving it up.
Bro,
He wasn't even looking. She wasn't even looking for his shot.
he took 2 shots in the first 5 minutes of the game and never shot the basketball again.
Yeah, it's like
And
Squeeze. Yeah, Freddie. He saw Freddie, Candyman, somebody. I don't know. He saw somebody.
it's a terrible look. Let's see what else we got basketball wise, and then we'll get to some of these football ones before we end off on that Jay-Z question. Of course, everybody's still talking about the freestyle. It's crazy for so many people who don't like the freestyle. Everybody want to talk about it. Oh, way over the head. Come on.
Yeah.
What else we got? Yeah, that's football. This is one more basketball one right here. Shout out to John. Rich Paul has been on one the last few weeks saying Jordan will be on 6 without Pippen, like Braun won without AD. I agree. It's his podcast just to big up of Braun and shade of Jordan's legacy. That's what it seemed like, John. What you think, Will?
You know what that is, man. When Rich Paul, every single time, every time he opens his mouth is to propel the legacy of LeBron James. That's his job.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason this podcast exists.
Yep.
Every time he opens his mouth is to propel the legacy of LeBron. And if it's not obvious at this point, it should have been obvious 10 years ago. But if it ain't obvious now, come on. I don't even know why we giving him attention anymore in media, because he's the like running an agency ran by LeBron James, and he has some of the highest profile clients in the NBA under this agency. So every time he speaks, it's going to be in the interest of his business and his client's business, not of truth, facts, or real basketball. So I don't know why we listen to him at all. He's a salesman for his players, which he's supposed to be. But the fact that we listen to what he says as supposed to take it seriously, like cut it out. Like it's other shit to watch. Like don't. I rather spend my time like watching dudes like us, or like even if you want to watch the professional dudes, like, or the dudes that play like Behan and them and uh Lou Will and all. Like I'd rather listen to opinion about about what's on the court and clowning than a dude that his main focus is to erase the legacy of everybody that his client is looking up at,
This is
just to
all.
propel his client to a certain peak. I
It's all.
don't. I'm miss me with all that.
It's all strategic. It's all trying to play the algorithm. Think about it. This podcast that him and Max Kellerman have had now it's been going for about 5 to 6 months at this point because it started at the beginning of the year. We only talk about the podcast when Rich mentions Mike and LeBron. We never talk about any of the comments Rich Paul makes. Only
Nope,
those comments.
because it's
Right.
nothing.
He's playing the algorithm. And as I
Yeah,
mentioned on Monday, he's also pandering to a younger audience who doesn't know any better. And that's not their fault. I'm not knocking the younger audience because if you didn't get to see Mike, if you just started watching basketball over the last 15, 20 years, right? LeBron is all you've really seen. So I'm not mad at you for that, right? If you're 25 years old, you didn't see Mike play. You didn't see any of those guys from the 90s play. So your interest in basketball has been rooted in LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. I get all that. And then when you get a guy like Rich Paul, this is why I hate what Rich does. When you're trying to like minimize the significance of these other guys, knowing that there were other legends well before LeBron ever played the game of basketball, you a fucking clown.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. You're pandering to
And
an audience. And I want to say that I'm gonna let you jump back in, right? I hate that he's doing that because we've talked about this, that him and LeBron throw little subtle shots to a younger audience that doesn't know any better. Like
yeah,
LeBron's famous line, because when I came back from 3-1, that made me the greatest basketball player. Right? For Rich to say, oh, Mike didn't win without Scottie. Okay. And what did LeBron win without KD, Kyrie, Kevin Love, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh? When it's all said and done, LeBron is going to have played with more Hall of Famers than any other player has ever played with. Let's not ignore that.
in his prime too. So people are going to try to act like it was in his prime.
Right. In his prime, he would have played with more Hall of Famers than any other NBA star has ever played with. So the things that Rich Paul does, the things that LeBron does, that's what makes it so hard to root for LeBron James. I try to be unbiased and I always give him his credit as a great player, but I be really tired of the bullshit they pull. It's like, yeah, come on, Rich. Rich in his fucking 40s, you saw Mike play, and you're gonna try to downplay Mike's significance, like, oh, Scottie played a bigger role. Scottie played a bigger role than Michael Jordan?
And like you said, the 25, 30-year-olds, they don't know. You know what I mean? They didn't see it. So, and it's like, put it like this, like, especially because coming in at the age that, and I'm not knocking none of those young supporters. I'm not knocking y'all. I'm just saying what you see, and you know what you know. And we see what we saw, we know what we know. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way life is.
Right.
When you look at Rich Paul, don't look at him as like this mogul, brilliant basketball dude. Props to him for being a success. He's nowhere without LeBron James on his homie. He's not sitting at the table at these tables. He's not making these deals. He's without LeBron, he's not doing any of this stuff. Now, when me and Eric were coming up, there was a dude named David Falk that was an agent. That was an agent to the stars, including Michael Jordan. Now this was an era of not having a microphone in front of you all the time, not having podcasts, but he has written many books. I never remembered him downplaying Magic or Kareem or Wilt or Bill Russell or Dr. J or Moses Malone or Earl of Pearl or anybody that came before Michael to make Michael look better. You know, see what I'm saying? Have you ever heard David Falk even mention anybody before Michael Jordan? Never.
This is this constant pandering. Shout out to Kyrie. I like that comment. That's why I put that up there. Kyrie said, I'm 32. I was a Kobe Bryant fan. I think he inspired players and fans more than Bron. All the current NBA players say Kobe was their guy. That's a fact. But that's 1000% correct, Will, in what you said. This now has become the era of like, I'm pandering and I'm begging you to make me the GOAT. I beg you to view me as the greatest ever. Like, go back and listen to some of the old interviews of Mike, where Mike said, that's not my job to anoint myself.
Yep.
That's you guys. If you guys think I'm the greatest, that's fine. That's your job. My job is to win and be as great as I can be right now. And then on the flip side, every fucking time LeBron's in front of a microphone, he want to remind you of why he's great. Every time.
Yep. Michael never need to remind nobody.
Every time.
We saw it.
And I've said this too. Like I said, I think LeBron is a great player. That is no shade on LeBron as a player. It just gets frustrating when you're constantly begging for our approval. Bro, if you're going into year 21 and you're still trying to compare yourself to Mike, that means you know you have not surpassed Mike. You know it. Because what you still trying to convince us for?
Yeah.
You're not convincing us. You're not trying to convince us that you passed Bird and Magic. You're not trying to convince us of anybody else, only Mike. Why? Because you know you haven't surpassed Mike.
And you know what? Take that 23 off. If you all that, take that 23 off. Well, you know what I'm saying? You wearing Mike's number. People gotta remember that he's wearing 23.
We never got into this. We never got into this. And I think it was the timing of when the news came out. So we've joked about this. Remember, LeBron has sat there and wore a patch commemorating that he became the #1 scorer, right? And then he wore a patch for most field goals made. And then you remember he got mad at Rob Pelinka because they didn't give him a game ball.
Yeah.
After one of the wins, because they ended up, I think they ended up.
It was the coaches. It was somebody's. It was coach's. He had a milestone win.
Yeah, like his 100th win.
Yeah.
And they gave it to JJ, and LeBron left the locker room and told everybody, I can't continue with this disrespect.
Yeah.
Like,
but he don't wear the most turnover patch. I don't see it in the most turnovers patch. I don't see a most missed free throws patch. I don't see like what about those patches?
Like, what the fuck are we doing, bro?
Is this your king?
You get everything you want whenever you want. And then even now, and I hate that we've been going down this rabbit hole talking about LeBron. There's reports now that he's telling the Lakers, I'll only take less than the max if y'all tell me what y'all gonna do with the rest of the money as far as building the roster. What?
I mean, that's on brand with LeBron. That's not surprising at all.
It is, but this is why people of a certain generation cannot stand LeBron James. It has nothing to do with him as a player. It's him as the individual and the drama that he brings. You're telling me you still want to be a match player at 41, 42 years old unless they can tell you what they're going to do with the roster? Last time I checked, you are not the focal point of this team anymore.
And had you not taken the max every season, you might have more rings, LeBron. You didn't have to you make so much money off the court. Yeah. But you got to be at the top of the payroll because of your ego. Like that's fine. I can't tell nobody to take less money than what they think they should be paid. That's who the fuck am I to say don't get paid as much as you can. Yeah. But also don't, you know what I'm saying? If that's what it's about, then that's what it's about. Because if it was about the other stuff, if it was about the championships, you can, whatever you didn't get paid in that season, you're going to make up off being NBA, such and such time NBA champion. But now you got to be the highest paid player because you're LeBron James. Well, good for you. You're a billionaire. Good for you, LeBron. That's great. But your bank account, like what you eat, don't make us shit. So what we about as fans and as organizations and as in sports in general, is about winning and losing. And if it was more important for you to be the highest paid player than actually win, then you can't. Then I don't need you having Rich Paul out here pandering because you made those decisions. Or you know what I'm saying? This is why you have to have Rich Paul out here as your mouthpiece. Yeah. Because you chose to take $50 million a year instead of 40, where you could have had, you know what I'm saying? That,
bro, it's right.
You know what I'm saying? Do you, man? Do you?
This is why also, we talked about this last offseason when people ask us what the Lakers should do and how should they handle the LeBron saga, right? LeBron at 40, 41 years old is still saying, I want to be paid as one of the top 5 guys in the NBA. On the flip side, Jalen Brunson left $100 million on the table, right? Just for the opportunity to say, listen, I'm willing to leave the money on the table so that we could try to compete. Go get the guys we need. I'm not comparing the two, but as you mentioned, LeBron, as much money as you made, is still not enough. It's still not enough to say, yo, you know what? I'm good with 20 mil. I could take 20 and we just build up the roster.
especially what you make off the court.
Yeah. Because again, we're not saying Bron don't get paid, but damn, Bron, you telling me instead of taking 40 to 45 mil, 20 mil would hurt you that much?
And this is you're gonna be proud of me on this, because I have a perfect example that was, because I know you said you want to get into the football questions that can segue into the football questions. Hey, LeBron, let me give you an example. There's a player that I don't think is the greatest of all time, but I can't argue because he has jewelry. And he has jewelry because he didn't take the most money every year. His name is Tom Brady. He has 7 Super Bowls because he didn't need to be the highest paid quarterback every season. He took less money multiple times to have talent around him to win Super Bowls. Do I think he's the best player of all time? The best quarterback of all time? I don't personally know. I think it's Joe Montana. But you know what? I can't argue that no more because he's got 7 of them things. And guess what he's still making? Lots and lots of money.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Like,
lots and lots of money. He took less to win. And now he's considered the GOAT. And if you took less to win, if you had 7 finals, you'd be considered the GOAT. I wouldn't agree with it, but I couldn't argue it either because you got 7 of them. If you had took less money, Brady got 7 of them things, and 3 of them he wasn't even the best player on the field, but he got 7 of them. You can't argue. He took less money to be great. Nope. You took more money to be status.
Yeah,
it's choices.
It is. It's choices, man. Listen, we got a couple more questions and we're gonna wrap up. We're about 30 minutes from tip off, so we want to get to the last couple questions. But before we do, make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast. We are live every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll be back next Wednesday, and we'll probably have a weekend date. We'll drop that to let you guys know for sure. Also, you see the social media handles. Make sure you are following us. Send us likes, comments, questions, topics for the show. Anything you want to get into, we get into that. Let's get through some of these football questions. Oh, we got one more basketball one. Who sent this in? What's your thoughts on Becky Hammon's comments on Brunson and Draymond Green's comments? I'm going to say this. Draymond Green is looking for reasons to be relevant. What he said, to me, none of it made sense because on one hand, he knows what it took to win with a small guard. They had to do it with Steph. He also understands that to win a championship is obviously deeper than just having one guy. So for this talk of, oh, you can't win with a guy who's a small guard. I mean, I don't know how you could say you can't win with a guy who's a small guard. Philly went to the finals with Allen Iverson. The Knicks are in the finals with Jalen Brunson. Curry, who is under 6'4", has gone and won multiple championships. You can do it if the roster is built the right way. And Warriors were a prime example of that. And if the Knicks win, the Knicks will be a prime example of that. If you build the roster the right way around a smaller guard, you can still win. So to me, I think both of their comments, but more so Draymond, when Becky Hammon made that comment, the Knicks did not have Karl-Anthony Towns. And I don't think they didn't have Mikal Bridges yet. So the roster wasn't complete. So I understood her perspective. Draymond is making this comment now as the Knicks were in a playoff run. That to me just made no sense.
I didn't see the comments, unfortunately, so I don't have any context.
Becky Hammons is from like 3 years ago. It was like during the second year of Brunson. And because at that time, Perk has always been a big supporter of Jalen Brunson. And she was like, I don't think the Knicks have the guy. And Brunson was like, Perk was like, they have Brunson. And she was like, nah. She was like, he's not a 1A guy because he's small. You can't win with a small guard. But again, Becky Hammond's comments, that was before Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges were there. So the roster was incomplete at the time. I can understand why she might be. Draymond made those comments as the Knicks were already up 2-0 against Cleveland. And I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense that you're saying this when the Knicks are on the verge of going to the finals. And we have history. Isaiah Thomas was a small guard. Did they not win 2 championships? right? AI went to the finals with Philly. Steph is a guard who's 6'3". By most accounts, that's a small guard. You can win if the roster is built the right way around a guy. Isaiah Thomas is a prime example. If you build the roster the right way around him, you can win.
Yep. Agreed. Plus, Brunson, yeah, at that time, whenever she said, like you said, the roster wasn't there, and you can't win with the roster that was there at that time with just Jalen Brunson. Not
Right.
only was he a small guard without a complete roster around him, even when you name those other guards, so Isaiah's, the Zeke, I mean the Curry's, Iversons, those guys had way more athletic ability
Right.
than Brunson did. So at that time, in that moment, yeah, she's probably right. Speaking on Brunson, not on small guards, but just speaking on Brunson.
Right.
With the way the roster was constructed at the time, yeah.
I agree. The second best player on the team at that time was Julius Randle. So no,
Yeah.
you wasn't going to win with Jalen Brunson as your best player if that's your other guy. But when you
Not
have
at all.
this team that has the defensive versatility, yeah, you can find yourself in position. So that was that. Let's get to some of these NFL questions. Like I said, then we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna let you go first on these as well, because some of these I did get to speak about on Monday. John wants to know, is Miles trade good for Rams' future? Yeah,
Hell yeah. If you what were we just talking about? Championships? Right? We just talking about championships, right? And y'all need to go back to the Rams last parade when they won the Super Bowl and the owner was on the mic. He said, F them picks. He said, F them picks. Y'all remember that? He said we gonna try to win more. Because remember it was like a t-shirt thing. Remember that? He said, in honor of the t-shirts, we're gonna try to win more Super Bowls. F them picks. I love that. I love it. And okay, you gave up a young promising player. You did. But guess what? He ain't Myles Garrett. I mean, I know he's 6 years younger than Myles Garrett, but
he's not. But you're right. He's not Myles Garrett.
He ain't Myles Garrett. And I didn't see Aaron Donald thinking about coming back to play football with Jerry Burse. I think he's coming back. I think everybody knows he's coming back. Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett on that defensive line, and the Super Bowls in SoFi this year. It's come on. Like I texted Eric last night. I said, Aaron Donald coming back is the biggest no-brainer lock in NFL. Did I not say that? In NFL history. There's no way this dude's not coming back. Why would you not?
Yeah, I mean,
you now, because especially people got to remember, don't talk to me about him being away from football for 2 years. He left at the top. He was an all-pro, first team all-pro, winning the Super Bowl when he left. It's not like he hobbled out of the league. He left. People were like, why are you leaving? Now he can come back and not see a double team ever again. Literally, he would not see a double team ever again. How can he? With Myles Garrett, and then Myles is like, come on back, because then Myles can never see a double team ever again. This defensive line might bring the fullback to football.
Listen, the reason this is good for the Rams is because the Rams have actually drafted well, and they already had a good young defensive line, because it wasn't just Jared Verse, it was Brandon Fisk, who they also drafted that year with Jared Verse. It was Byron Young, who's the other young defensive end. But if you look at what they've done, they haven't had a lot of first-round picks, but it didn't matter because they found Kyren Williams in the middle rounds. They found Puka Nacua in the middle rounds, right? They found all these guys in later rounds because Les Snead understands scouting. And then also he understands that, listen, if I don't have a first-round pick, I don't got to get caught up in the drama of who should be in the first round. Now I'm just scouting best available player. If my board says this guy's the best guy and he's there when I pick, that's who I'm going to take. So their history has shown that they know how to handle whatever pick they have in the draft. Because again, Puka is one of the best receivers in football, and they drafted Puka in the 5th round. Yep. They can get to it. They know what they're doing. Secondly, this move wouldn't make sense if, and I talked about this, and this is not to shit on them. When the Ravens were trying to get Max Crosby, I was like, it don't make sense. The Ravens are not close enough to winning the Super Bowl. Why would you make that trade? But when you're the Rams and you had the ball inside the 10-yard line against the Seahawks for a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and you know we're bringing back pretty much the same roster, and we have a legitimate chance, and we went and got Trent McDuffie, who's an all-pro cornerback already. And now we can add probably the best defensive end in football to this defense. Why wouldn't we go do it? You already
he's going to bring back the best defensive tackle in football.
Yeah. Why?
He's still the best defensive tackle in football. I don't care what nobody says.
Listen, no disrespect, but like you said, fuck them picks, because you ain't drafting Myles Garrett in the first round.
Nope.
You're not going to get that player. You're not going to get him in the second round, third. You're not going to get him in none of those rounds. So you go get Myles Garrett now and say, listen, we got the best defensive end in football. Like you said, we might be getting back the best defensive tackle. We got an all-pro cornerback. We got the MVP quarterback. We got the receiver that led the league in touchdown catches. We got the receiver that led the league in receptions. We got a 1,000-yard running back. And we got the same coaching staff that led us to a Super Bowl a couple years ago. Sean McVay, one of the best coaches in all of football.
One of the best coaches in football. Yep.
All the pieces are already there. This is not, to me, I don't even view this as a gamble, because even if they didn't get Myles Garrett, we would have been talking about the Rams as a Super Bowl contender. So
absolutely. They were already a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were already. This was not a desperation move. This was not, oh, we got to do something. No, this was a calculated, we're already really good. And if we can
This was chess.
Yeah, if we can add him, why wouldn't you? Because again, you're never gonna be drafting high enough to get a guy like Myles Garrett anyway. And to your point, I think Aaron Donald is a foregone conclusion, because he even joked about it last year when he said if they would have made the trade for Micah Parsons, which the Rams are trying to make happen, he would have come back. So if you were going to come back for Micah, you definitely come back.
Definitely, absolutely, shoulder to shoulder on that line, man. What?
Come on. And like I said, don't sleep on the other young guys, because Brandon Fisk and Byron Young are really good on that defensive line too.
Yeah,
they got some guys.
And my man and Nathan Lamon is a tackle machine at linebacker. They solid at all three levels.
Mm-hmm. Let's pair that with this question right here from Kyrie. What can Simpson learn from Stafford? I mean, it's pretty simple. Stafford's a reigning MVP. He's a guy, obviously, who's won a Super Bowl, got a lot of playoff victories. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And Ty Simpson now is going to get the red shirt for probably 2 years. So there's no pressure on Ty Simpson to do anything other than just learn the offense, soak up as much game as possible, and just be ready when your number gets called.
Yep. Yeah, get your Aaron Rodgers on. That's what he's gonna have to do right now. He's gonna have to sit and watch right now, because it ain't, especially with all these moves and all that. Like you ain't on the. Now that's another factor too, because a lot of people they didn't like that pick. You know what I'm saying? They was like, "Oh, you taking a project quarterback essentially," but now, like don't say F them picks, man. They ain't work. Like now you bring Myles Garrett in. He's your first round pick this year. You know what I'm saying? Not Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Now Myles Garrett was your first round pick. You know, I mean, that's the way. If I'm a Rams fan, that's the way I'm looking at it. You know.
I agree. I agree. The Ty Simpson pick makes even more sense now, because I think I texted you. The rumor was they had reached out to the Browns even before the draft about potentially Myles Garrett. At the time, the Browns wanted to wait. They weren't sure if they were going to move on from him. Then once they kind of restructured this deal, they figured out that they could do it without the cap penalties. So I think the Rams, even if it wasn't Myles Garrett, I think they were searching for that other big name on the defensive line anyway. So they kind of knew, yeah, we could probably take a young guy and try to develop him. But why take a guy that we're expecting to get snaps now when we could take the quarterback of the future and just, like you said, we're going to use our future first on an impact guy right now anyway. You walked away. Think about that. They use draft picks to walk away with their future quarterback in Ty Simpson, Trent McDuffie, the corner, and Myles Garrett. That's a really good offseason. That's a really good fucking offseason. John said, how much was A.J. Brown saga weighing on the Eagles?
How much was A.J. Brown saga? I think they really were kind of disconnected from that for a while now. And like this whole trade and all that, this been in the works for months. I think they known about it. They been preparing for it, and it was just a matter of waiting for the numbers to make sense based on the dates and all that other stuff that goes over my head. But Diana Rossini told us this months ago. So when she told us this, we should have listened.
Yeah.
Because as we know, she had the insider information. And I mean, they spinning it now as Adam Schefter's story. Diana Rossini told us this 3 months. She told us this the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, she was already reporting.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know why we act like we were just waiting for it to happen because we just had to wait for the date to occur. But I'm gonna give y'all something real quick. Since you brought it up, John, I heard that the whole situation with the falling out of AJ Brown in Philadelphia was over some pussy.
That's what's being reported.
That
is what.
So I heard they traded the linebacker over that shit. Hassan Reddick.
Yep, that is what's being reported.
The masseuse. First of all, listen. A masseuse is just taking down NFL players left and right. Well, we need to hone in these massage therapists because they are killing careers left and right. What's going on with the masseuses? Ladies, ladies, massage them, man, because you don't let them go to the massage parlor because they'll lose a career.
This is what I heard. It is the masseuse. What I heard was AJ was messing with her first. Hassan Reddick started messing with her. Jalen Hurts, who is the godfather to AJ Brown's daughter, I believe, knew about it, but stood out of it. Said that's not my business.
As he should.
Right. Then when AJ found out, he got mad at Jalen Hurts for not telling.
Oh shit.
Right. So I don't think the masseuse did anything to expose it. I think over time, maybe other cats in the locker room started realizing, like, oh shit, y'all both fucking with shit. I don't understand why AJ Brown was so upset though.
Right.
If you ain't wifing her up, if you just fucking around with her, what she off limits to everybody because you only
and when he engaged at the time. And when he engaged, like, bro, you really
the analogy.
The side chick.
What, nobody's supposed to fuck with her?
Yeah, she a side chick, bro. Like,
come on.
The game, man. This is another case of I can't relate to these youngest.
Tender love, man. Tender love, man.
Yo.
Tender love. Listen, let's get through these questions. We're about 15 minutes from tip off. I got to refresh my drink before the game start, man.
Yeah, and I gotta hit FanDuel up.
Yeah, I just placed a couple parlays right now.
I only got 2 tickets in. I gotta get to my 10.
Caleb Williams was named the Madden cover athlete for 27. Shout out to
Did you see the cover though? Did you see the cover?
I saw the cover. Yeah.
I'm not.
Let's get to this. Yeah, you know. This is the last question tonight. Shout out to Pooh. I'm gonna put them both up back to back here. End of the show with Will Gordon on. Talk your thoughts on Jay-Z freestyle and attacks on Drake, Kanye, Dame. We were saying y'all OGs love it, but us youngins, like, it was mid. It's a young man sport, but love. And like Monty was saying on Monday, it's hard unless you're a hip hop junkie. We look at Jay-Z as that old ass nigga, but y'all think it was work of art. But I love the debate. Go ahead, Will. We're not gonna.
I feel you, Pooh. I'm not even mad at you, Pooh. Shout out to your pops. Pops will feel this. And I'm not mad at you, Pooh. I'm not mad at who else was it? Imani? Anybody from the other night? Because I was watching, shaking my head. But I'm not mad at y'all because, like you said, this thing is going to be a generational gap, period. Because a lot of the stuff that Jay was referencing and talking about was like in the 90s and the early 2000s. Besides that, there was a lot of wordplay and references to pop culture of the 90s and early 2000s. Now, I'm not on first listen. I missed a bunch of it. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna be that dude who's like, oh yeah, he was, yeah, every bar for bar. Nah, a lot of it I missed. It was like third, fourth listen, and then like, oh wait a minute, hold up. He said what? And that's what. See, that's what used to be the beauty of hip hop, especially when Jay used to rap. He was so ill. He'd say stuff so ill. This remember you be like, oh, hold up, rewind that. What he said? Woohoo, rewind that. And that was what this brought back for me personally. Now, like I said, a lot of these references are. I'm not being the disrespectful. I don't want to be disrespectful and say over your head because that sounds disrespectful. When people say that went over your head, I'm not saying you don't have the brain capacity to understand what he was saying. I'm just saying you don't have the point of reference because of the time, because of the times. Jay-Z's 50-some years old. You know what I'm saying? He's 10 years older than me. But so, you know, take me back to 2000. I'm 21 years old in 2000, you know? How old were y'all in 2000? When Jay was hot, as hot as fish grease. You know what I'm saying? And this is no disrespect or no knock. It's just if you weren't there, you weren't there. Just like basketball, just like we talk about Michael. If you ain't had nothing to reference, if you can't reference you know what I'm saying, the shot over Craig Elo, seen it live. If you can't reference, you know, that kind of stuff, then it's like you had to be there. But this is no disrespect at all. Because I've seen this online. Like people, like the youngest don't get it, but the old heads are like knocking the youngest for not getting it, and the youngest are knocking the old heads for getting it. It's like it's not that. It's just it was different times, you know. But once there's a lot of breakdowns online that you can see to kind of make sense of what he was saying, if you care enough to know what he was talking about, there are so many breakdowns. They'll show his line and then reference what he was talking about, show what he said, and reference what he was talking about. If y'all care enough, then I advise you to, because it's the internet, I advise you to check that kind of stuff out. But I think what's being missed, I mean, this is what he wants, because he got the concert coming up in New York, right? And I think a new album's coming, for sure.
It is.
But what he wanted was this buzz. The thing I want people to understand, what I got out of it was the performances, not that freestyle, not those 3 minutes, but the rest of the show. That was epic music. Bringing back, and I've seen State Prop rock live. All them sets they did with State Prop, with Petey Crack, with the Young Guns. That was what I wish people were talking about more than the freestyle. But
here's the thing, Will, because I think you said it right, and I'm gonna double down on it. The real difference here is the way we consume music. You and I have said this before. We came from an era where you would listen to music multiple times to catch the references, right? Catch the bars. What are they talking about? This generation, and this is not to knock this generation, but it's just the way this time we live in. They consume music through social media.
And it's instant quick.
TikTok, right? Is it trendy on TikTok? Is it trendy on Instagram? Is it trendy? And so I think what they're missing with the freestyle is it's a cappella. So to them, they don't get it because that's not something they're used to. There are a lot of songs that this generation listens to that they don't even know the words to the song, but because it's trendy on TikTok, they'll add it to their playlist. Yep. Right? Because they hear so much on TikTok. Oh, I'm gonna put that on my playlist.
They can do a dance to it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna dance to it and all that. We came from an era, like I said, where you consume the music that even when I first heard it, I didn't, like you said, I didn't catch every bar, I didn't catch every reference. I had to go back and listen a couple times, right, before I gave my real opinion on it. So a lot of people like, oh, that shit was mid, it was whack. Y'all didn't catch it, and then y'all not willing to go back and listen to it because this is a microwave era. Nobody puts the time into the production of the music anymore. And I said this on Monday. You can go on YouTube right now, and there's cats who got songs with millions of views, and the audio sounds trash. But this is a microwave era. They want it right now, and they want to be satisfied. Pause right now. And the song got to make me want to dance or do something right now. Because if it don't, then I'm on to something else. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just really what it is. It's not about old heads. It's not about youngins. It's really not about that.
It's just for the time.
If you're somebody who consumes music in that microwave, I want instant gratification right now. Yes, you're never gonna appreciate it because that's not what you're looking for. Drake dropped 3 albums in one day,
Yeah.
and within a week and a half, y'all not talking about the Drake album.
No, they clowning it. That's about it. But look, a perfect example.
Mhm.
How many of y'all know who Rivera is? I'd say none of you.
Right.
And it's no knock. It's why would you know who Rivera is? Because you're in your 20s and your 30s. There's no reason for you to know who that is. That was a big part of the freestyle that people pointed out, but nobody even knows what that situation was.
And I also said this too. To me, these were all just jabs from Jay-Z. These were jabs at people who have spoken his name for a very long time.
Yeah.
Jaguar Wright been making a living doing fucking Vlad TV interviews. Dame Dash, I said this to Trip the other day. Dame Dash has been on a 20-year run of doing interviews talking about Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing you could talk about that's relevant.
Pathetic.
You know what I'm saying? So all Jay was doing was taking jabs like, yo, y'all niggas say my name a lot. And the one time I mentioned y'all in a verse, y'all now, Jay, look, Jay picking on us. Look at Jay talking about us again. Like, bro, y'all, Nicki Minaj, you didn't talk about this man's wife, his kids, all that.
Yeah. And the plot, yeah, was it about Nicki or about? But when he started stuttering,
he was talking about Nicki and her husband.
People forget her performance when she came out.
Yeah.
Like he was, come on, man.
But
again,
but
it's cool though. Y'all need to understand this is a safe space. We not knocking. Yeah, it's okay to not get it, but don't knock it if you don't get it.
It's purely,
you know what I'm saying? It's okay to not get it. There was a time when you could say, "Yeah, I didn't understand that," without bashing it. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, it's purely a disconnect based on the way people can. It's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
People want to be entertained so quickly now that they won't even let a story build up in a movie.
Nope. If it ain't good in the first 15 minutes,
they don't want to watch it.
Turn to something else.
Yeah. Or they pull their phone out and they watching their phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing.
It's just a different time. Yeah.
It's the same thing with music, man.
But if y'all want to know about that stuff, I'm telling you, they breaking it down. Just go look. And then when they do, you'll be like, oh, okay. You'll be like, okay.
And I'm gonna keep saying this. Whatever y'all younger generation feel about Jay, that again, you're entitled to your opinion. For Will, for myself, for a lot of us, we grew up in a different era. And if you was doing certain things, Jay is gonna have a certain hold on that part of your life. But I challenge y'all, for all y'all that love to say, oh, Jay ain't this, Jay ain't that. Jay-Z's debut album came out over 30 years ago. It is still not only a classic, you can play that joint right now, and there's still new shit that you'll learn in that album. So anybody if you think another artist is great, play me their album from 10 years ago and show me the relevance where the music was able to carry over through the test of time. Because to me, that's what makes a classic album. I don't want to hear, oh, he sold 10 million. Yeah, he sold 10 million because maybe that's what was hot in that era. Nelly sold a lot of albums. Nelly ain't got no fucking classic album, no.
You know what?
You can put Jay-Z albums from 15, 20 years ago on that still have relevance to this day. The content, the subject matter still has relevance to this day. So we're not talking about the same thing. If you want instant gratification and songs that make you dance and get happy, cool. But don't try to compare that to a work of art. Don't try to compare stick figure paintings to a fucking Picasso.
Listen, you know what I'm feeling, E? And listeners, y'all lucky. Y'all about to get a peek behind the curtain. I'm production meeting right now in front of y'all. And shout out, hit the comments or hit up Eric if it's something y'all would be interested in. E, the dog days of summer's coming up. Like they right here after these after these 5 games the Spurs beat y'all in. So
Nah, we beat Knicks in 6.
you know what I'm just saying? But nah, dog days of summer, y'all. If y'all rock with us, y'all see we talk about way more than sports in the summertime and we have fun. We might have to do a series this summer, you know, like well, we might have to break out just for the respect of the culture and the music. We might have to like break out an album and discuss it.
We could do that.
You know what I'm saying? Like break out an old. They don't got to be Jay. It could be anybody from the culture. Any you know, it could be any of the albums in the last 20, 30 years of hip hop that we feel like have brought us to where we are today. That maybe some of the younger viewers have not experienced or listened to or had a chance to, you know, to dig into, like, you know, the heavy hitters. You know,
listen, we could do that, and we'll talk off air. Like I said, once the finals is done and we into that part, you know, we'll get to that, man. But like I said,
there's some stuff out there, yo.
It's a disconnect, but we can do that as well. We can get to the point of talking about albums, production, like what's a great album, what's the okay album. We can do all that too, man. But let's
I want the youngest to tell us what they think is
what they want to hear
and why.
They want to hear "Take Me Through There." That's what they want to hear. They want to hear that.
They doing that.
Give me a final thought. We're about 4 minutes from tip off. Give me a final thought.
Oh, okay. You know it is. You know what it is. Good to be with you again. I feel like this is going to be a great series. I do have the Spurs winning it. I think they got enough. I think they young enough and like they so in the moment that they don't know how big it is, but that's going to be an advantage for them because they just keeping this thing moving. I think the alien is just the X factor that's it's going to be hard to overcome. And I say Spurs in 6.
Listen, I got great respect for the Spurs. You know, maybe it's a dream. Maybe it ain't our time. I don't know, but I just feel like it's our time. I feel like everything that's happened since Jalen Brunson, some of the playoff heartbreaks is all building to this moment. I might be bugging. I think it's going to be in 6. Maybe that's a pipe dream because if it happens at 6, that means it happens at the Garden. And New York City would literally turn into Gotham for probably a week. But I'm riding with the Knicks. I think I'm not ignoring the numbers. I think the numbers speak to the fact that they've been dominant all year. I know this is their biggest challenge, but I also think we are the best team that the Spurs have played through these playoffs because I think we were better than OKC. And it's going to be a great finals. I got Knicks in 6. So, we're going to talk off air too, because like I said, we might do something Friday. If not, we'll probably do something this weekend after game 2, and that way we can kind of
I'm free
back after them 2 games played. But
yeah, I'm free.
As always, another amazing night for my brother Will Gordon. I am Eric Sanchez. We are the opinionated ones as part of the Sanchez Show. Make sure you guys subscribe. We will be back next Wednesday. And stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on social media because, like I said, we're going to let you know. We're going to drop the date when we're going to come back to you guys live. All right. We out of here for now, though, man. Enjoy your night and enjoy game 1.